At exactly 06:32 in the morning, international airspace over the Caribbean Sea became a kill zone. A lone A-18E Super Hornet, callsign Striker 7, was completing its third hour of routine patrol along a strategic shipping corridor. The pilot had no idea that two Venezuelan F-16A Fighting Falcons were already climbing hard from El Libertador Air Base, their Pratt & Whitney F-100 PW200 turbofan engines screaming as they punched through 15,000 feet. Their orders were explicit: intercept, intimidate, and if necessary, engage. This wasn't random posturing. This was the culmination of weeks of escalating tensions as the United States Navy increased counter-narcotics patrols in waters Venezuela considered its backyard. The Venezuelan military command had decided to send an unmistakable message. American jets were no longer welcome. What happened next would force both nations to the edge of open conflict and demonstrate just how quickly modern air combat can spiral from surveillance mission to international crisis. The Caribbean is the primary cocaine superhighway into North America. 90% of all cocaine passes through these shipping lanes, over 1,000 tons annually. The United States Navy's increased presence was economic warfare aimed directly at the Maduro regime's shadow economy. For the pilot of Striker 7, this morning felt routine. His A-18E Super Hornet cruised at 23,000 feet, twin F-414 GE400 turbofan engines burning clean, advanced AESA radar, 11 weapon stations. Today, he flew light, 2 AIM-120s and 2 AIM-9Xs. His radar sweep showed nothing unusual. If you're enjoying this breakdown of modern military operations, hit that subscribe button now. You won't want to miss what happens next. Then his radar warning receiver screamed to life. The Venezuelan F-16s had been flying nap of the earth, hugging the coastline at under 500 feet. Their AN/APG-66 radars had already locked Striker 7 from 70 miles out. The lead pilot, flying an aging Block 15 OCU Fighting Falcon delivered in 1984, knew his aircraft inside out. No modern data link, just Israeli Python 4 missiles and American AIM-9L Sidewinders. His wingman flew identical loadout, 2 jets, 8 missiles total, against 1 Super Hornet, advanced when the Soviet Union still existed. On paper, this looked like suicide. The Venezuelan pilots weren't idiots. They understood the technological gap. The Super Hornet's radar could track them from 120 miles. Its missiles outranged theirs by 30 nautical miles. But they had desperation married to political calculation. Their orders came from the highest levels: make the Americans blink. Venezuelan command believed they had calculated the angles perfectly. Close fast, fire first, disappear. Like playing hide and seek with an opponent who owns thermal satellites. Striker 7's pilot saw the threat immediately. 2 fast movers, closing from the southeast. Aggressive intercept profile. He called it in to the USS Porter, an Arleigh Burke-class Flight 2A destroyer 80 miles north. The Combat Information Center came alive. The destroyer's ANSPY-1D phased array radar painted a perfect picture. 2 Venezuelan F-16s in afterburner, closing at 600 knots. Time to intercept, 4 minutes. The Venezuelan pilots were broadcasting positions like teenagers posting location on Instagram. Every sensor within 200 miles knew exactly where they were. The American pilot made his decision. He turned toward the threat, lit afterburners, climbed. Basic fighter doctrine: gain altitude, gain energy, gain first shot opportunity. His right hand moved to the weapons panel. Master arm on, AIM 120 selected. Except the Venezuelans weren't playing that game. At 52 miles, both F-16s went into a radical split. One broke hard left, one broke hard right, forcing Striker 7 to choose targets. The American pilot ripple-fired both AIM-120s, one missile toward each target. The active radar homing missiles dropped from his weapons bay, ignited, and accelerated to Mach 4. 12 feet long, 335 pounds, 44 pounds of high explosive, propelled by guidance systems that don't get confused, they get focused. Time to impact, 38 seconds. The Venezuelan pilots had expected this. The moment their radar warning receivers detected missile lock, both jets went defensive. Chaff, flares, hard evasive turns pulling 8 Gs. The lead F-16 pilot yanked through a vertical brake, bleeding airspeed, destroying the tracking solution. His wingman turned into the missile, rolled inverted, and dove. The AIM-120 seeker lost lock and ground clutter. The missile detonated harmlessly 200 feet above the ocean. But the lead pilot wasn't so lucky. The first AIM-120 tracked through his defensive turns. Its proximity fuse activated 20 feet from his aircraft. The fragmentation warhead detonated. Tungsten rods ripped through his F-16's left wing, shredding fuel tanks and hydraulic lines. The aircraft rolled uncontrollably. The pilot fought for control, but physics had already won. Fire warning lights, hydraulic failure, flight control computer offline. Physics doesn't negotiate with optimism. He reached for the ejection handle. At 0637, exactly 5 minutes into the engagement, the first Venezuelan pilot pulled himself out of a tumbling $40 million smoking wreck. His wingman kept coming. Striker 7's pilot had exactly 1.3 seconds to process what happened next. The surviving F-16 wasn't running. It was charging straight at him in a pure head-on attack. Closure rate, 1,200 knots. Range, 18 miles and closing like a freight train. The Venezuelan pilot had made a calculated decision. Sacrifice himself if necessary, but take the American with him. His thumb pressed the weapons release. 2 Python 4 missiles leaped from his wingtips. Infrared seekers locked onto the Super Hornet's glowing turbofan exhausts. The missiles accelerated to Mach 4. 9 miles, 8 miles, 7 miles. The American pilot's training took over. He cut power, dumped chaff and flares in a continuous stream, broke hard right into a 9G turn that sent his vision tunneling. His aircraft's countermeasure system worked perfectly. 1 Python 4 missile went stupid, chasing a magnesium flare that burned hotter than his engines. But the second missile was smarter. Its seeker filtered the decoys, tracked the real heat signature. At 4 miles, it went terminal. Active seeker, final intercept trajectory. Guidance computer calculating intercept path. Probability of hit, 97%. The remaining 3% was wishful thinking. Impact in 6 seconds. The American pilot did the only thing left. He pointed his nose at the ocean and dove. Full afterburner. The Super Hornet plummeted from 20,000 feet. The Python 4 followed. 3,000 feet, 2,000 feet, 1,000 feet. At 700 feet above the Caribbean, the missile's proximity fuse activated. The high explosive fragmentation warhead detonated 40 feet behind the Super Hornet's tail. Shrapnel ripped through the aircraft's vertical stabilizers. Both engines suffered catastrophic foreign object damage. Fire warning lights illuminated across every panel. At 0638, the pilot transmitted 4 words. Striker 7 is ejecting. The Martin Baker SJU-56 ejection seat fired. The pilot rocketed clear of the disintegrating aircraft. His parachute deployed at 300 feet. He hit the water 30 seconds later, watching his $67 million Super Hornet cartwheel into the ocean and explode in a fireball of burning jet fuel. He was alive. His aircraft was scrap. And somewhere overhead, a Venezuelan F-16 pilot was celebrating the biggest kill of his career. speed running his way into the aviation history books under Lessons Learned the Hard Way. That celebration lasted exactly 90 seconds. USS Porter's Combat Information Center had watched the entire engagement unfold on radar. The moment Striker 7 went down, the destroyer's captain made his decision. The rules of engagement were crystal clear. If American forces are attacked, respond with overwhelming force. The tactical action officer called it. Weapons free, engage hostile aircraft. Launch authority approved. The Aegis combat system came alive. Porter's Mark 41 vertical launch system held 96 missile cells. Inside sat RIM 174 Standard Missile 6 interceptors. The SM-6 wasn't designed for this. It was built for ballistic missiles and high-altitude bombers at ranges exceeding 200 nautical miles. Using it against a single F-16 was like using a sledgehammer to crack a walnut. But the SM-6 had one advantage. Its active radar seeker meant fire and forget. No illumination required. At 0640, two SM-6 missiles erupted from Porter's forward VLS cells. Twin solid fuel rocket motors ignited. The missiles accelerated vertically, pitched over, and arced toward their target at Mach 3.5. The Venezuelan F-16 pilot never saw them coming. His radar warning receiver screamed, beeping louder than a smoke detector at 3 in the morning. He looked down at his display. 2 new contacts, inbound, supersonic, time to impact, 22 seconds. He broke hard left, dumped chaff, pushed his throttle through the detent into maximum afterburner. None of it mattered. The first SM-6's active radar seeker acquired the target at 12 miles. The missile made micro adjustments, pulled 40 Gs in the terminal phase, a maneuver that would pulverize any human pilot. At 0641, the proximity fuse detonated. 133 pounds of high-explosive fragmentation warhead turned the F-16 into an expanding cloud of aluminum confetti and burning aviation fuel. The Venezuelan pilot died instantly. Never knew what hit him. The second SM-6, with no target remaining, self-destructed over open ocean. 90 seconds to reconsider every decision that led to this moment. Plenty of time while treading water in the Caribbean. Total cost of engagement, $4.2 million in missiles. 1 Venezuelan F-16 destroyed. 1 pilot killed. 1 downed American Super Hornet. 1 rescued American pilot. And a geopolitical crisis that would dominate headlines for weeks. But the United States wasn't finished. Within 6 hours, 4 A-18E Super Hornets launched from the aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford. Their mission: suppression of enemy air defenses. The target list was precise: 2 Chinese-made JYL-1 radars and 1 Russian 9S-32ME fire control radar protecting Caracas. These were the eyes of Venezuela's integrated air defense network. The strike package carried AGM-88 HARM anti-radiation missiles. At 1300 hours, Venezuelan radar operators made their fatal mistake. They turned on their systems, broadcasting their positions to every sensor in the theater. The moment those radars went active, they signed their own death warrants. 4 HARM missiles launched. The Chinese JYL-1 radar was first. The missile impacted at Mach 2. The explosion vaporized the antenna and killed 3 operators. The second JYL-1 lasted 6 seconds longer. Same result. The Russian 9S-32ME tried to shut down. Too late. Impact. Fireball. Venezuela's air defense network just went dark. Total mission cost, $11.8 million. 3 radar sites destroyed, 12 personnel killed. Clear message sent. The final accounting tells the whole story. Venezuela lost 2 F-16A fighters. Unit cost $40 million each, $80 million in aircraft,
3 radar installations, 60 million combined. Total Venezuelan losses, $140 million, 12 personnel killed, 2 pilots rescued. Expensive tuition for a lesson available free on Wikipedia. The United States lost 1 A-18E Super Hornet, 67 million. 1 pilot rescued safely. American expenditure for response, 2 SM-6 missiles, 4.2 million. 4 HARM missiles, 7.6 million. Total American cost, 78.8 million. Loss ratio, 1.8 to 1. Venezuela paid $140 million to learn why you don't intercept American patrols.
Could have Googled it for free. The real lesson had nothing to do with hardware. Modern air combat is decided by who sees first, shoots first, from beyond visual range, and has sensor networks to make mathematics inevitable. The Venezuelan pilots followed orders into a meat grinder. The United States Navy escalated to overwhelming force the instant their aircraft went down. No negotiation, just methodical destruction. This engagement proved fourth-generation fighters without modern data links, without AESA radars, without beyond visual range advantages, are obsolete against carrier strike groups. The defensive layers are too deep. Destroyer radar coverage, Super Hornet response under 10 minutes. AIM-120D engaging at ranges where the enemy can't shoot back, like bringing a knife to a gunfight where the other guy has night vision, knows you're coming, and called ahead to let his friends know. In the dark blue waters of the Caribbean, both sides learned the same terrible truth. There are no winners in modern air combat, just survivors counting the cost. And Venezuela learned you do not intercept American carrier aircraft in international waters, like trying to rob a bank during a police convention. Technically possible, highly inadvisable, definitely not going to end well. If this breakdown gave you a new perspective on modern air combat, hit that like button and subscribe for more untold stories of military operations. Share this video with anyone who thinks air superiority is guaranteed. Sometimes the underdog gets a bite, and that bite draws blood.